No, you're not dreaming. DC has woken up.
You seen the new Batman? Is this not the best fucking Batman you've seen?
The Penguin just ended and it's the best show of 2024.
I don't know if you've noticed, but something is happening at DC. They went from making some of the worst some of the worst movies at the time. Then all of a sudden, boom. What the fuck happened? 2 years ago, DC decided to make a decision. They had to do something before it was too late. Marvel, when it comes to mainstream audiences these days, is blowing DC out of the water. More kids are gonna know about Captain Marvel than they know about Superman. And out of nowhere, might have pulled off something special. But I need to go back to give you the full picture. Year 2014, Guardians of the Galaxy came out. Wow, was this a breath of fresh air. For once, Marvel went fucking cringe. This to me is what a superhero movie looks like. It's creative, fun, and exciting. You can't watch it and tell me you did not have a good time. This is by far one of Marvel's funniest movies ever made. But most importantly, it introduces us to the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it balances all the characters perfectly. Each one of them have their moments and sense of belonging to the team. Very, very few movies do this right. It was written and directed by James Gunn. 3 years later, we got Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Somehow, it was an even more emotional movie than the first. These characters were starting to feel like real people, and in all honesty, was something that was starting to become more and more rare for this genre. It takes the characters from the first movie and adds a bit more layers to them. Just makes them that little bit more interesting and deep. And that's all a sequel needs to be. An extension to the story before, with even more creativity and fun, of course. It is Guardians of the Galaxy at the end of the day. Written and directed by James Gunn. He was then fired, but just ignore that for a second. A few years later, and DC offer him Superman. So he does the logical thing and declines it, to make a movie on the Suicide Squad. He took one of the worst superhero movies ever made and chose that as his introduction to the DC universe. So he made it fun, with tons of heart that actually tells an interesting story with interesting characters, something the first wasn't even close to doing. He added that Guardian spice to the seasonless movie, and it saved them. You can actually look back at characters like Harley Quinn without wanting to vomit. This was a huge risk, and somehow it worked. Is James Gunn okay? He was then rehired by Marvel because everyone was outraged at their decision, so last year we got Guardians 3. After how amazing the first two movies were, he somehow kept the best for last. They made one of the best fucking superhero movies to end this trilogy, cementing it as Marvel's best. And it's not even close. All of this done by James Gunn. One thing I didn't mention earlier is that after he made the Suicide Squad, they came up with the bizarre idea to make this nutball their new CEO. This might be the best decision they ever made. James Gunn has huge plans for DC. He is starting completely over and building a new universe from the ground up. And oh boy, do they need this. The Snyderverse has been going on for 10 years now, and holy shit has it been bad. I was going back to a list of the movies that were released, and genuinely, more than half of them were ass. Imagine going into a movie knowing it's more likely to be bad than good. Contrast that to Marvel's run from Iron Man 1 to Endgame, which was also about 10 years, and majority, probably like 70% of them, were really good. DC was failing. To me, it's always felt like they were one step behind. Before Justice League, we already had the Avengers. By the time they were diving into the multiverse, Marvel had been there and done that. The magic that superhero movies had at the time was that they were different, and DC was simply just copying. Then this interview came out by James Gunn.
One of the things that's very important for me is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special.
Oh, wait a minute. Like I said earlier, DC is starting over, with James Gunn as the creative side and Peter Safran controlling the business side of things. I am so excited. The thing is, I shouldn't be. I mean, you know the state of superhero movies at the moment. But the reason I'm excited is that James Gunn knows this.
People have gotten really lazy with their superhero stories.
He knows what a good movie is. Shit, he's literally made them. And that's a lot more than you can say for a lot of other CEOs. This new Gunverse is planned to be 8 to 10 years long. And although this might seem obvious, no shit they're planning their universe, trust me,
Somehow Palpatine returned.
be grateful for it. But one of the most interesting parts of this universe to me is that it's split. There's the Gunverse, where everything from video games to shows to movies, they're all connected. Then there's the other stuff, like the Batman and the Joker. They aren't in this universe. They're building and doing their own thing. You have no idea how smart this is. Imagine we could get a Spider-Man movie that isn't connected to the MCU, where there aren't unnecessary cameos or a whole storyline that spans 10 years long. It's completely on its own. The Batman and the Penguin are probably the two best things going for DC right now. Imagine if they were forced to meet this thing. One of Gunn's most important jobs is letting people like Matt Reeves just do his thing. This does mean we're going to have multiple Batmans and like 3 Jokers. But is that really a bad thing? Let's talk about the movies they have announced. The elephant in the room is, I don't have a clue who they are. James Gunn loves taking heroes that aren't in the spotlight to just allow them to shine, and he's really good at it. I had no interest in this Swamp Thing. Well, now I am. Supergirl looks fire, The Wallace Show has potential, and of course everyone loves a Batman. But this all doesn't mean shit if Superman fails. Yes, he's finally doing it. The first DCEU movie is going to be Superman, written and directed by the man himself. Everything is at cost with this movie. There's a lot of skepticism at the moment. His style won't work. He doesn't get Superman. Superman doesn't need James Gunn. It won't work. But what he does get, writing real authentic characters, is exactly what he needs.
But there's this playfulness about Superman. This, when he's saving a cat, he's got that wry smile. He enjoys what he's doing. He likes helping human beings and he likes saving them.
Yeah, he gets it. I truly thought I was done with superheroes. Besides Spider-Man, I don't watch Marvel anymore. I hated the Snyderverse, and I just didn't give a shit anymore. This is the most I've been excited for a superhero movie in years. I have to give credit to this man. He has filled me and an entire fan base with not just hope but excitement. This isn't just a new CEO. His job isn't to increase stocks up to 50% or try and gross $1 billion every year. He's here to make us care about these characters, like we once did. I can't wait.